All right, welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have a co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks for having me again. Excited for this one.
Of course. And before we enter in who is going to be today's guest, I just want to make sure and encourage everyone to like this episode, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And you'll be notified each week when new episodes are coming live. Today, we're going to go to New Jersey, and we got an individual on right now. And this guy was actually featured on the American Dream TV. He's with Remax. He's at an event right now, and we have... Justin on Real Estate vs. Technology. Welcome, Justin, to the show.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing?
Excited to have you on. I was actually watching a couple of this episode that you had, I think back in June. And dude, they really do a great job showcasing y'all. I saw the office, clean office, like a ton of rewards. Saw some of the new construction you're working on, dudes. You guys are on fire. I know you're there right now to serve your team and show up on that side. And this is all about you. So let's get into like the beginning. Like, how long have you been in the business? What made you get into real estate, man?
Yeah, so I've been in the business for 18 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I just turned 40 this year. So
looking great.
Thank you. Started, I guess, young. I thought in life 22, I thought it was a little late, to kind of figure out what you wanted to do. But, I was wrong. So that was good. But I actually had done a report in high school. What do you want to be, right? They do those reports usually junior year. Yeah. And I was doing some research, and I wanted to do real estate back then. You don't really roll out of high school and go to real estate school though. So I went to school for accounting just because that's like that my dad did that, and I knew I wanted to do business, either way, one way or another. So tried that out. Didn't like it. I felt like I was in a box. I just, doing the spreadsheets and the numbers and the debits and the credits and all that stuff. That was not tickling my fancy at all whatsoever. I knew I wanted to do something bigger. While I was in school, I was doing some things, management things, and I was making really good money, but working a lot of hours. And I knew I was going to hit like that ceiling. And I had hit that ceiling really at 21 in my company, where I did a 4-year degree to, become a supervisor. I was making like 80 grand, but I was working, 10 to 12 hours a week, commuting an hour each way. And I just knew that is not where I wanted to be. I knew I couldn't be restricted. So, I took a step back, took a chance, hopped into real estate, joined an awesome company. I called it kind of like almost college because they you leads, you learned, and you didn't make as much on, commission wise, but, you got all the connections. You're doing deals, company closing, in the recession, really before the recession in 2007, and formed a team, not even knowing what a team was back then. I just knew at that point in time, I was a buyer's agent. All I did is run around showing homes, working with buyers. I was doing, 50 to 60 buyer deals a year for a couple of years, not knowing that was a lot. But I knew I got those leads from my listing agents. I knew I had people internally in the office doing cold calling, which is what I started out doing for that company. And I knew without having that team in place, where was I going to get my buyer leads from? I was only in the business for a couple of years, so those people weren't ready to sell just yet. And we were heading into the recession. So, but I knew I was not going to get fired ever again. I knew I didn't personally get fired, but they fired the entire company. And I knew I got to have control. And it was funny that the day that they said we're shutting the doors, they locked us out of the system, right? So we couldn't even go in. But I knew what was going on. I logged in under the one of the supervisor's passwords. He never changed his password. His password was password. Logged in. Got everybody's information and everybody's clients, sent it to everybody. And then from there, everybody's like, what are you doing? And we were like, we still want to do this. We still know this could work the way we kind of work as a team. And we built a team then.
Wow, dude, good for you. That is super.
That's hilarious story.
like a Robin Hood story or something. Like, all right, I'm gonna go.
It's like Office Space.
Yeah,
it's like Office Space. You walked in with the flash drive, and you're like, "I'm out. See you guys later."
Yeah,
but they robbed us because when they closed the business, right? We all had like a base salary. It was not much. It was like $25,000, but we had company cars, company laptops, company cell phones. We had to turn everything in. And I had probably at that time like 18 deals pending, and I didn't get paid $1 off of any of those deals. We had to actually, sue the company through something called the Warren Act because they fired more than 50 people at the same time without really any warning. And but everybody got the same amount of money. So the people that weren't really doing deals that had higher salaries got the same amount of money as I did. But whatever. So we just put our heads down and you just keep going.
Yeah, dude. Calls for a great story, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us here at Real Estate vs. Tech. It's awesome. I mean, the story's awesome, and it's not something you hear every day. And I'm sure you learn a lot from it. And now, 18 years later, where are you at as far as like transaction volume? You're probably more on the seller side than the buyer side. You have the team. Right. Of course, you've expanded that team. So what are you guys doing? What's your production volume look like the past 12 months?
Yeah, so we have a team of 20 now.
Nice.
But 4 years ago, we decided that we were actually being boxed in our company, and we opened our own office too. So we went from, at that point in time, I want to say we had maybe 15 agents on the team to now 20 agents on the team. Not much growth, but 130 agents in the office. And we actually have about 6 teams under the office too. And we're growing those teams now.
Wow.
So yeah, this is actually the first year business-wise for me personally, almost like I took a step back in volume, which was actually a goal for me. And some people may think that sounds crazy, but when you're also running a business and you're doing a lot of the marketing and the advertising and you're looking to grow, we're in the middle of opening a second office right now. Somebody's got to be able to rock all that out. And I couldn't run around with buyers anymore. I just started passing that business off, so that way I could, focus more on building the company.
Wow. That's amazing.
You gotta get busy to not get busy.
Yeah.
What I tell everybody.
Yeah. There's only so much time in a day. So, I mean, on average, I was doing anywhere between, 20 to $22 million in sales. And I was comfortable kind of doing that, knowing that we were growing some other things at the same time.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be kind of like, the agent that's going to run around and, do 30, 40, $50 million, $100 million and just be the agent. I wanted to grow something that was more passive income, where I didn't have to worry about myself. Obviously when you have a company, close on you and you kind of see what happens there, you can understand like everything then as a realtor, a lot of times it's on you. And if something happens to you personally or with your health or something like that, how are you getting paid? So I wanted to grow different revenue streams, continue to take steps back, continue to cash less checks because we were reinvesting back into the company. Lucky to have 2 business partners that were, 2 of the team members that broke away, from the other company. We had 6 to start. Now it's just 3 that are on the same page. And we're all about implementing systems and hiring staff to really give our agents an advantage to make them do more volume.
Yeah.
It's really all simple stuff. It's just investing in the time and the money and building out the processes with the people, in order to do it. So we can go into some of that stuff too, if you want to dissect a little bit about the business.
Yeah, that's going to be Dan's here in a second after we get into the mix-up round. And I just need to say for all the viewers and listeners out there, it's so important to think about like what's next. Yeah, you can transact. It's fantastic. But a lot of agents don't understand that you need passive, whether you're investing into real estate, duplex, triplex, whatever the case may be, to be able to have income there. Growing a team, they produce, you just serve, support, show up, show out, SOPs, KPIs, and just help that team just grow. So the last question I have for me before I give it off to Dan for the mix-up round is like, what is a value prop? So when you're recruiting agents to go to your team, if someone's listening that wants to grow a team themselves, what is something that you say is your value proposition to recruit agents?
Yeah, so it's really back office support. So field operations guy, don't have to worry about signs, don't have to worry about open houses, don't have to worry about, putting out any signs at all ever. which is great.
Nice.
You don't have to worry about producing your open house packages with your brochures and everything like that, putting it on the internet. So all that stuff takes time. That's just one thing. We do Matterports in-house, which if you're not familiar, it's, a 4K camera that gives you kind of a full virtual tour where you can walk through a house.
Awesome.
Amazing technology, underutilized in my opinion. He also does drone. So we have drone in-house. So we were able to reduce some of those things that we wanted to see implemented in the business and in the industry in our area, and really cut the cost half price of what the, photographers, I guess, or the videographers were offering it out at. Just because we knew that was a restriction. People weren't using the technology because they thought it was expensive to do it on their listings. And now we're kind of setting the trend out in our area where a lot more people are adopting it now.
I love it.
So that's just one role. We have, 2 marketing people in the office. They'll help you design whatever you need to design, social media stuff, brochures, mailers, things like that.
Wow.
That's all stuff that, it's kind of per cost basis. But again, it's all reduced, much less than what you would get, from outside vendors. We have 2 transaction coordinators now in the office, which, I think that's the key for anybody that's looking to grow your business, is having that administrative staff take that contract from the time you put it in attorney review. In New Jersey, we have a process where, contract signed, then the attorneys review it. Then there's a period, beyond that, could be 3 days, could be 7 days, could be 1 day. And then it goes officially under contract. But they take the contract from there and chase everything, missing paperwork from the other agent, follow up with deposits, follow up with inspections and appraisals and all that stuff that if you're an agent that's busy on appointments during the week and, you're not able to check your emails when you're on the road, somebody's on it. They can respond right away. I used to be the guy up 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 at night, responding to all those things that I couldn't do when I was on the road. And a lot of that is, allowing somebody to help you because a lot of agents don't want to give up control of some of that stuff. But some of that stuff, once you figure out like this person's trained and they can handle it, you can now be free to grow your business and actually sleep at night. So,
dude, that's huge for anyone who's listening right now. That's huge. And I have to say that you articulated that nicely. It was straight to the point. Like, this is exactly the value proposition. And that's what I think anyone listening needs to really think about, is that you need to have a good team and standard procedures and KPIs behind the scenes to help you out so you can make those calls, go on those appointments and do what you do best. I absolutely love that. So we're going to change it up. We'll get off to Dan for a mix-up round. He's going to get more into the technical side of the technology, the SOPs, what you guys are doing behind the scenes to add additional value to our viewers and listeners. So go ahead, Dan, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Norm. So, Justin, what would you say is the biggest piece of technology in your business right now that is creating scalability, efficiency, profitability?
Yeah, so I guess it would be our branding and stuff through social media is pretty big. So we are creating content and stuff with the show. We're starting to launch that stuff onto YouTube. So we're working, figuring out YouTube ads and stuff like that. But, a lot of it is figuring out that digital footprint that you can make in your community, in your area, and just kind of, figuring out how to market that, to whoever you're looking to market it to. So we think social media is huge. Obviously there's some other assets technology wise that you can utilize to show off, whether it's, again, video tours of the property or your Matterports or your drone or whatever it may be. But I think video is the most powerful thing for you to connect with your audience, with your future customers, future clients. I was on a call with my guy yesterday and just talking about, why can't our website have a 30-minute clip of every agent in the office instead of just reading through a bio? And that way the client can get an idea on what's that personality of that agent, and or why can't we set up something where you can Zoom and interview an agent before you let them in your house, especially with the days of COVID. Obviously, we know a lot of the listing appointments went down with Zoom, but why not select 5 agents and just talk to them for 10 minutes over a Zoom call and just see if they're the right fit? Because you have all these pictures, right? And everybody looks great. All these realtors look great, but is that the real person?
Yeah.
That's the joke, but it's real. And I meet people and I'm like, they're like, yeah, my name is this. And I'm like, you look nothing like your picture.
The picture you took in 1978 that makes you look 18. Yeah.
Right. And then also the personality. So, I mean, people are judging you by a picture. You know, I think there's just more to connecting with people, and technology can help you with that.
Yeah.
And I think on that point too, a lot of people like, I totally cherish, and I think, you know, experience is a big part of this business and being able to get a transaction done. But I think from a buyer and a seller perspective, a lot of people lean into, you know, I'm going to hire the most experienced agent. And what I've learned is a trend is that a lot of these people aren't growing their business like you. They're kind of just doing a dog and pony show. They're trying to do as least amount of work as possible, because what's made them successful in the past is not any evolution of their real estate career. It's just the more and more years of experience they use as a marketing point of contention. So I think you bring up a good point in terms of like interviewing agents that may not be as experienced as the number one listing agent in the area, and giving the person an opportunity to A, connect with you, but B, see what type of things they're doing that might be innovative to your listing or creative ideas. And we've seen a big pulse of that with social media and video marketing with listings. Yeah. I mean, you see it all over. I don't know if you follow like Josh Altman or anybody doing these fun videos for their listings. I mean, I'm loving this stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, I think a point you make too is, you know, just because you're the number one agent doesn't mean that you're the number one agent for that client. Yep. Do you have the time and the availability? Do you have the expertise in that specific market? So I hear this all the time, you know, with agents is, oh, I don't have this or I don't have that. But I'm like, I can assure you, you have more time than a lot of these top agents do to handle that kind of seller or handle that kind of property. You just got to go with the value proposition. So, you know, if the seller finds out that, you know, this person isn't getting back to me and they're the top agent, but you're there and you're following up and you're, you know, coming up with creative ideas in the background, meanwhile, they can't even get in touch with this other person, which, you know, happens a lot.
Yep.
That's your value proposition, you know, and at the end of the day,
accessibility.
Yeah, the number one agent can't do all the business in the market, and they never will be able to.
No,
and probably nor do you want to, you know, because at a certain point, if you're the top agent, you should be able to pick who you want to work with. And I know that I sure as hell do. I don't want to work with everybody, you know. I only work on referral. Like, you know, if you're a crazy person, like I'm on following up with you. Like, I don't want to deal with you. Like, I did that back in the day, and like, there's only so much time in the day. Like, listen, and I have no problem. Here's the key thing I think that I learned early on is I never really looked at what the commissions were, the percentage was. A lot of the agents did. Oh, this is a co-broke 2.5, or this is a 3, or this is only a 1, or this is the price point. It wasn't about that. It was always about creating relationships, finding good people, because over time that always duplicates and replicates itself. And if you work with a good client and they appreciate that you did a good job, they're only going to find you more business, refer you more business, and do more business with you in the future. So the initial commission is nothing. I look at it as it's an interview. If you have to even work for free and it's a good person, you can still make money. Yeah. So a lot of agents are looking at it the wrong way, where it's more, you know, short term and it's just a transaction, and it shouldn't be like that. And I tell a lot of the new agents, if you have to work for free when you first start out, but you're actually doing the kind of business that you want to do, whether it's a builder, new construction, luxury, whatever it is, like, you're not just going to get the first one, you know, within the first year for the most part. Like, you got to really prove yourself. The way to prove it is to do it. And if you do it, then it's easier to get to the next one. So it's all about building the foundation.
Yeah, no, there was you know, before I hand this back to Norm, there's a couple trends. I'm an agent myself, have a team, and I always make this, you know, I always made this assumption, but the most difficult agents to deal with, the most hardest agents to get information from, have been the top producing agents. It's usually their TC. They hand everything over to a TC, and now I'm just doing the deal with their TC. And at the end of the day, everything is delayed. I'm always reminding them, and I'm like, why is this person so highly rated? This is the worst experience ever. But the point I bring into that is that the 2.0 agent, the millennial agent, the next wave of generation of real estate agents are going to be those who can embrace technology, get in front of the customer, connect with them, and not worry about the money, right? If you're worried about the money, you're going to get beat out 9 times out of 10 trying to negotiate and cut your commissions. And I think you bring up a really good point, that is, just don't be in this business for the money. Be in this business to help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no doubt that I was able to get to where I am, with just that mentality, because I just naturally, here's a funny thing. I would not sell houses. I would unsell houses. Like, I would meet a client at a house for the first time, and I would tell them literally everything that was wrong with it, which is exactly what they taught me not to do. But I actually did contracting for a little bit as I was getting my license and, going through that process of transitioning jobs. And I learned a lot. And I knew, hey, this roof needs to be redone, or the windows need to be redone. And this is all stuff like I just learned, in a short period of time. But I would divulge that information up front, and the client would be like, yo, this is weird. Like, this is cool that you know all this information. My job was always to just pass along the information. So it wasn't like I was a natural, like, not trying to sell the house, but I was trying to come at it with a different angle, instead of being like, oh, look at these nice granite countertops. These people know what granite countertops look like. Like, you don't need to tell them that. You need to tell them the things that they're not thinking about, right? You need to be looking at the ceiling and finding if there's, seeing if there's any leaks. You need to be going down to the basement and seeing if there's any watermarks on the block, or any bulges on the block, or cracks on the block, and things like that. These are the things that kill your deals. And if you don't have the eyes and ears to kind of come up with that stuff and know that in advance, and communicate that with them and let them make the decision. I've sold homes that needed a completely new front wall on it, but I was able to disclose that up front, like, hey, this is a pretty big crack. You're going to need a structural engineer to come in. And he ended up
fix it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is we got all the right information. We got the right people in. A lot of people probably shied away from it, because some people, I think, probably did see that it was an issue. But listen, it's all about solutions, and it's all about digging in, finding out more information. That particular client ended up, it was like a $25,000 repair job on a $200,000 house. So that's a big ticket item. That person still lives in that house today. It's probably worth $400,000 now, and he's one of my agents now in my office.
I always say that I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you don't want to hear, so that you can be prepared when you hear it. And that's the game.
I don't want my deals to fall apart.
Yeah.
So if I know it's an appraisal issue, or if I know there's going to be an inspection issue, like, I go through that up front. Like, why go through the process? Because I know that if a deal falls through, even if it's not your fault, it's your fault. Yeah. And you may not retain that client. So you're going to put all that work in, and you thought you were so close. You actually even spent that commission money because you thought it was so close. It's in escrow. But that client may not come back to you. It may be 50-50. And again, you're not supposed to be a home inspector, and you're not supposed to be an appraiser, but you're the realtor. So if you're not giving them a lot of this information and steering them in the right way, and again, it's always disclosure, right? So I'm not a home inspector, but this furnace is 30 years old, or this
something to think about.
18 years old. So you've got about $12,000 in things that you're going to need to modify in the next couple of years. You can do a home warranty, you can do this, you can do that, but those things are not going to last forever, just so you know. And that's it. Make your decision from there. Do you want to make the offer based upon that information, or how do you want to proceed? So a lot of agents they don't think that way. They don't act like that.
They just want to buy the listing. That's all it is.
Right.
They want that.
They just want to push people into something. And listen, my clients are always well educated on both sides. And even to the effect where my sellers, we're doing pre-inspections. I'm doing these same walks with my sellers, and I'm pointing them out. Hey, this is what I'm seeing here. This is what I'm seeing. Let's take care of it now and control it before it gets to a home inspection issue. And then you're dealing with a rogue home inspector, or a rogue contractor. So a lot of it's just, if you're an agent, you want to control things. You got to know everything, every which way, and you got to look at everything every which way. And it's not about the pretty stuff about the house. Get down to the nuts and the bolts, and be able to disclose that stuff.
Wow.
Back to norm. Great information.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks so much for taking that mix-up round, Dan. And I think the narrative of this episode just needs to be keeping it real.
Oh yeah,
everything from like commissions to, dude. I mean, I just love it. So anyone who's listening right now, just like keep it real and don't spend your money before you got it. So I got a last couple of questions before we open up the floor to you, and then you can leave our viewers and listeners with anything you want them to take from the episode. And so the team that you're growing in your specific area there in New Jersey. So are you looking to be like the number one team in Jersey? What's the goal behind the aspirations of growing the team?
No, not looking to be number one. I mean, we've got an awesome.
You talked about that
in Jersey. He's actually like one of the top agents in the world. Rob Dukansky. He does a great job. He's another Remax guy. Yeah, we're looking to do it different. So we're looking to grow the office. We're looking to grow systems. Rob's a big on billboards and radio. We're bigger on digital. He's killing it. He's crushing it, which is great. But there's room for multiple agents to crush it in a market. So that's one thing too that I think people kind of get caught up on what one person's doing and maybe feel a certain way about how they're doing it, or they may hate on how that person's doing it. Don't be that guy. Just focus on what works for you. And there's many different ways to make money in this business. You don't have to follow specific agents or do what specific agents are doing or implementing in their business. You just got to do your own thing and be different. Yeah.
Agreed. I absolutely love that. So last question for me is like, I've kind of already heard it on my side, kind of like how you approach this, but like how do you train your agents for the viewers and listeners out there when someone's going to go in and say, go to a formal listing presentation? What's the secret weapon? What's kind of like that? We are the team,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, the way I train on listing appointments is there's no presentation. I think everything is custom and unique to the person. So be prepared and be prepared to talk about everything, but don't be prepared to talk about it in like a specific order or make it like it's a presentation. I call it a walk. The first thing I do when I go to a seller's home, you greet them, I want to see the house. A lot of the sellers, they want you to sit down. I don't want to sit down. I want to walk. I want to feel the house. I want to be able to kind of
smell the house.
Yeah, I want to point out
or not.
See the yeah, not smell the house. Like, you got mold in here, bro. Like, we gotta take care of that process. But be able to kind of have some conversations. And maybe you look at the pictures on the wall. You look at little things here and there, and you pick some stuff up, and then you have some things that maybe you can talk about. I'm always about conversation. And having a conversation, walking through a house, letting a homeowner really present like why they live there, what they did, getting that history. That's all valuable stuff, when you actually sit down.
I think we got to mute on your side. You might have had a notification coming through, Justin. Just getting good too. There you go. I think so. Now go ahead. Yeah, I think I heard something now.
See that?
Yeah, I hear something now.
I lost you.
Yeah, you're good. It's just a little low. Good old notifications.
All right, I got you now. Sorry.
Yep. No, you're good.
There. But yeah, I guess filling out what's going on with the seller and getting that information, and then when you download all that information and then you sit down, then you know how to move that conversation or what's important to the seller instead of going through like how great your company is or how great you are. It's not about you. It's about the client. It's about hey, if they had another experience with another agent, like what went wrong and figuring out how to address that and showing them like this is how it'll be working with me. But yeah, I mean, treating people like a human. Like I don't know about you guys, but I don't consider myself a salesman, and I don't like being in the presence of them, because you just feel like, are they telling me the truth? Are they not telling me the truth? Like, just being honest and having the conversations and really being helpful. I mean, you'll get way more business than trying to push somebody into something, even if they want it. And that's the tricky part, because they may be ready to go. They may want to list with you, but if you're just pushy, they don't know when that's going to come back to them, right? Like during the negotiation process, like you're going to force me into doing something maybe that I don't like or make a bad decision. People don't like that. and there's no reason for us to be like that. It's not like we're selling cars off of a car lot where once you walk away, like, there's no opportunity. Like there's so much opportunity for you to work with a buyer or work with a seller, because you can show a buyer anything, anywhere. And with a seller, you can get so much more business, from them from the future if you do a great job, whether it's the neighbors or the friends. So people just need to do a better job being people.
I love that. And it ties into The 7 Triggers to Yes, a really good book. People forget what you said and did, but they won't forget what you made them feel. And I think that's kind of hard for some salespeople because people are so structured and organized and kind of need that. But this is not a standard operating procedure, key performance indicator type process when you go into a home. It's like what's your name? What do you do? How do you do it? You build up that equity, and then you could kind of use it for ammunition. It's like almost like building ammunition. So yep. I agree 100%. So let's go ahead and change up the camera angle and give it off to you. And how do you want to end our episode? We want to make sure that we end it on a high note. So what would you like to leave our viewers and listeners as we wrap up the show today?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for doing this. I know there's a lot of education, out there and available. And for those that are actually taking the time to help other agents grow and get them this information and learning, I think it's just going to be good for the industry as a whole. So thanks, thank you to both of you guys for making an input on the industry. But I guess to sum it up, right? Like I keep it real, like it's easy. This industry can be easy. You have to do the right things. You have to work hard. When I started in the industry, I was working to 12 to 16 hours, 7 days a week. I just knew that I wanted to do this, and I was just building a foundation for the future. If you're in kind of the middle of your real estate life, start thinking about the future and how you're going to build, and whether it's building a team or teaming up with somebody. I think that's the key. I think there's too many agents that try to do everything, and that's really where you start, losing your value or losing your time or not being able to grow. So, and to the agents that are, killing it and crushing it, there's many different ways, to make money. You could be a salesman and you can crush it. That's just not everybody's flow. That's not my flow. That's just not how I am. Not hating by any means on the agents that kind of operate like that. I do respect it, and it's a hustle. But certain people, gravitate to other people that have different personality traits. So just be you. And don't worry about what other people are doing, because, this happens a lot. Like, you could have a really, we're going to call him a techie agent or a nerdy agent in the office, and people are like, he's not even social. It doesn't matter. There's people that are like him that want to buy houses, and they may talk the same talk, and you just got to meet those people in their places, right? And know that if you're not going to work with maybe the type A personality guy who's a banker, if you're that personality, and it's surprising too, because there's a lot of agents in the office sometimes, and they're like, how do they do it? And I'm like, they stay in their zone. They know their people, they're just real, and they can relate to their people the best, because, whatever it is, everybody has something, whether it's you like cats, right? Or whatever it is, as crazy as that might sound, you create community. You find your space, you find your people, and those people will trust you.
I love it,
man. Wow. I love that, man. I love that. This was definitely a cool episode. And it was nice how it was just like real talk. It was literally real talk, get a little bit deeper. I appreciate you, Justin. As like, that is our intention. Sponsored by Liftoff Agent, Real Estate revstech. It's just to give back, serve, support, help out. Big things in the work for 2022. So we're on the lookout for that. That's why we're encouraging people to subscribe and like and connect with us here, and share this content, because it's worth nothing if people don't put it out there and say, hey, here's a resource that costs you absolutely nothing. I was actually talking to an agent yesterday, and he's like, man, I was binge watching the podcast the other night. Like, I'm ready to get going. And like, it was never our intention to close any business on the Liftoff Agent side. But before you know it, 2-3 months later, it's like, it comes back full circle. When you show up, you show out, and you serve. So Justin, thank you so much for being on Real Estate revstech. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Great to meet you, Justin.
Likewise.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure. Dan, as always, thank you so much for co-host. Appreciate you.
Another great episode. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take some of our episodes, apply to your business, have more massive success. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, comment below, share with someone you think you should see it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Real Estate vs. Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, your real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate vs. Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate vs. Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.